Hello, good evening, and welcome to So Much Game with episode 3 of Worlds Without Nye-mbers. I'm just going to keep doing that until you're so fed up you won't come on anymore.
No, I'd never not want to do this. This is so much fun. Brightens up my day.
Sorry everyone that we're a little bit late. I had to feed a baby who, as you can hear in the background, is still a bit fussy. Also, before we get started, I'd just like to throw out a couple of corrections from the point last time where I ended up having to quickly randomly throw historical facts out there, and there's a few corrections and clarifications and various other things that definitely need to be made. So on the whole Louis Philippe thing, Louis Philippe the First, King of the French, after the 1830s July Revolution, was in fact the son of Louis Philippe d'Orléans, the cadet house of the Bourbons, who changed his name to Philippe Égalité in 1792 to support the revolution, but unfortunately still lost his head in 1793. Anyway, so it was his son who went on to become King of the French, rather than King of France, because they made the distinction of the power comes up from the people rather than down from God. And then the other point after that, Napoleon II died in 1832, I think, 1830s somewhere. And after he died, the son of Louis I of Holland, so Napoleon's youngest brother, Charles Louis Napoleon Bonaparte, decided that he should be Emperor of France, and really went to town trying to make that happen. And after two failed coup attempts, one in the 1930s and one in 1830s and one in 1840, he eventually in 1848 became president of the French Republic, and then later Emperor Napoleon III, the one I mentioned. So there you go. I think I've corrected everything there that was confusing and rambled at the time.
Well, you were doing me a favour. No, I appreciate that. You were doing me a favour because I had to deal with something pressing. But thank you. It's nice that I appreciate that you went over any mistakes, because I like that you went to that dedication. It's lovely.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you catch any more mistakes in anything I throw out there, just randomly, because I'm mostly freewheeling, feel free to let me know, and we'll correct it for the next
they'll let us
know. They'll let
us
know. The internet and history is guaranteed to provide.
In fairness, I can say this: European monarchs are a bitch to do, because it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm Louis the 19th, and it's like, so many Louis.
Well, that's definitely the case with like the Dukes d'Orléans, because obviously Louis Philippe became Louis Philippe the First, King of the French, but his dad was called Louis Philippe. His dad was called Louis Philippe, and I think his dad was called Philippe.
Well, and you've also got like titles like there's Napoleon II, but what Napoleon II is the son of Napoleon who was put on the throne for like a minute.
Yeah, in
and then they
1850,
no,
and it was mostly disputed anyway at the time.
Yeah,
right?
So it's like,
are you though?
I mean, you're not really Louis III. You're Louis II proper, I guess.
Yeah. So with that being said, I suppose we'll get into building up the mighty revolutionary state of Mert, whose flag is still flying next to us in the place of me at some point trying to come up with a map. It's a lot easier, I find, to come up with a map from scratch with no set ideas of where things are, then going, we've actually planned this all out, now make a map of it.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Oh, gosh.
Anyway, I think last time we finished off we defined all of the relationships between the groups and the various nations themselves.
Yep.
If you want a run through of that, feel free to go back to episode 2.
Yeah.
But I can quickly tell you who they are. So obviously we have the revolutionary state of Mert, who we've been talking about a lot, but have given a lot of sort of background to, but not really like in detail, which we'll probably go into today when we start looking at them in more detail. Then you have the nation of Danube, which is divided by Mert from Mert by several mountains. Have the nation of Kuv, which is sort of like our Russia, but it has a massive dense forest there that makes large parts of it very difficult to control, because obviously the trees here are kind of alive-ish.
Yeah,
they at least project a magical field.
Which we've not done yet. We've not decided what the magical fields do, but we'll get round to that.
What we know is they help create the national boundaries, so they're also kind of very important in warfare in general. Then there was the nation of Gula, which is a desert nation, who are in a bit of a ruckus with Kuv, if I remember correctly, because they're suspected of assassinating some Kuv merchant royal person.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Then there's the nation of Seko, who are our Britain equivalent in this case. Mm-hmm. At some point, we're really going to have to stop making equivalents with...
Well, equivalents help people, though. I mean, they'll help most people, because most people don't have our nerd level of Napoleonic history. But I think it does help people visualize. So it's not the end of the world.
And then the fifth nation is Onia, which is the nation that creates the super wonderful soil that makes things grow very fast. And so is kind of important, because if you can grow trees very fast, you can take over areas of land quickly as well. So everyone has to be nice to them. Yeah, very much. And and I think that's all of them, isn't it? Covered all of them.
I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is just, as we said, this is not like the entirety of the worlds. This is just the immediate movers and shakers that players would have to interact with, or at least hear about. And if they want, and if a DM had this and wanted to go further, then that's up to them to kind of.
Definitely, I think if we're assuming the players are starting in Mert, then these are all going to be nations they know and are of direct importance to whatever's going on around them.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. I still have dice, which sucks. So when I roll on tables, it's going to be on a phone, which is not as exciting for folks.
Oh well. To be honest, they can't see our dice anyway.
That's also true, but they could hear them, and it's Okay, I'll open up the dice as well. Okay. Yes, I think we're doing people today, aren't we? The people that actually inhabit the lands, or have I mixed up that with something else?
Well, we can do whatever you want. I think there was where we sort of left off was, were we going to define any religions that are important in the region, or were we going to pick important historical events for the nations? But
well, for context, I'm literally just going through the book page by page But I think Lewis is doing something different. That's fine.
No, I am, but what I did, because I'm sneaky like that, is I listened back to the last 10 minutes before we started.
Oh, is that what we were talking about? Oh,
yeah. And we just sort of finished off with defining the relationships and the other nations and stuff. And there was some speculation as to whether to continue on for a little bit, making religions and 2 historically important events per group or nation, or whether to end it there, which is what we eventually did because it was getting a bit late by that point.
Yeah, okay.
But
I'm happy with.
I'm fine with actually like delving into one of the nations deeper if that's what you'd like to do.
Oh, I mean, I just like rolling on the tables and then trying to contrive how that all fits together.
Yeah.
The thing for me is I'm only just going by the pages in the order that they're presented, just because that's like easier, because I'm not savvy with this book, so I'm not good at like jumping around between the different pages. But I'm happy to do like individual stuff. So, it's up to you.
Would you be going to like the kingdom level then, or what page are you looking on specifically?
I'm on 128 society construction.
So,
that came immediately after all the nation construction stuff. And to my knowledge, I think we have gone through everything. What's the word I'm looking for?
All the nations themselves.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a word for in order.
Themes and but I think society construction probably leans towards kingdom building, which is on page 119. Because basically it's the same thing again. So we were on 118, which was the region. And then you have the tables later on in the book, so you have to keep skipping back and forth between pages.
That's my fault. I skipped ahead.
Well, not really, because we were rolling on those tables because that's where it leads you to from the page on 118. And then after Google. That, please turn your textbooks to. To the tables
it's all in the test.
To be honest, if the test is roll 4 d20s and then create a nation out of that, then I think you'll do all right.
But if it's roll 4 d20s and that's your score, I'm going to be like sweating profusely. Oh,
that would be
ones. How did you only get 1 for the test? Oh, I had disadvantage.
I hope it's not roll 4d20 on like out of 100 then.
Yeah, no, your odds are not going to pass now. You actually get brought to the teacher's office if you get 100. It's like, okay, how did that happen? Because that's not possible.
That's not possible. No, I suppose it might not be a bad time to start building Mert itself, and like from page 119, then the kingdom level.
Okay, sorry, I am reading this now properly again, like I should in a textbook, and it's going, please go to page so and so, and I'm like, oh. Okay, right.
Don't worry about it. It's your world. You can build it however you want.
No, I like this. It would make sense to do it this way. I just kind of skipped ahead to the tables. Okay. So
we'll do a little bit of kingdom building today then.
Yes.
We'll call it nation building because they're not necessarily kingdoms.
Okay. Yes, it does say that there. It shouldn't be taken literally.
Seems weird when you could just call it the nation or whatever, to call
That's
it
true.
the kingdom
even the concept of nation states isn't of itself a particular term, because funnily enough, it is actually this point in history that we're basing it off, where the nation, as you said,
the nation
people stopped seeing countries as gifted by their monarch and more by the people that actually lived there, which sounds funnily silly when we say it now in the 21st century.
Yeah,
but I think
it was a big bone of contention at the time because there were very few monarchs that liked the idea that they ruled because people let them rather than because God had defined or decided that they should rule.
And it's like if you were to go back in time and talk to like someone who lived in like Charlemagne's kingdom, it wouldn't be like, oh, I'm a Burgundian. It would be more like, oh, I just live here, man.
I live
like,
here in this town. This is
And sometimes I go to other towns.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go really far away for a crusade, but it was not like I am Burgundian and I like being Burgundian. Yeah. Yes, I'm excited now. Okay. So I think the first. Oh, sorry.
For context for everyone out there, all the crap that comes out of the idea of you being part of a nation today stems from that period.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of like a lot of revolutions throughout history. It's always there, and then just somebody goes, well, let's just put it into practice, and then history happens. Yeah. I mean, that is pretty much history, though. Let's do this thing. Okay, maybe we'll think about it. Takes a little bit of time. It happens, and everyone's like, "Oh, it happened. Okay, we talked about it. It happened."
Unless you talked about it with the Austrian emperor at the time, it was very unlikely to happen because he'd have to read it first, and he wouldn't get around to it ever. Any point of his reign. No.
I mean, that was most kings. It's like, oh, I have to read.
But it was it was a Ferdinand, I think, but like around that sort of post revolutionary France period, and he was like, he had to personally be in control or have read everything that he was going to sign, but he also never actually got around to doing it. So everything had to go through him, but he also wouldn't do it, so it just sort of stayed there in perpetual
perpetuity. Yeah, definitely. No wonder the Holy Roman Empire collapsed. Should we do this? I don't know. I'll get around to on Tuesday.
Austrian emperors weren't really like they weren't prone to changing anything or making decisions at any point. Yeah.
No, never, ever.
Right, we should really get
I like Boreg. Just saying, I feel like I would also enjoy a history talk show with both of you.
Yeah,
I know. But also animal topics. So so the first one it says is pick a linguistic touchstone for Mert and give your kingdom or area a name. So I think. And I'm gonna virtually put my hands on your shoulder here, Lewis. I think I might actually have to now name Mert, not Mert anymore. I think I've got to give it its name.
Can we keep the revolutionary state though?
I know, because you're just like, we're not having the placeholder as the name.
The revolutionary state of. Go on, name it.
Well, it says pick a linguistic touchstone, and I have been kind of mulling over where I want to draw linguistically from, and I'm torn between kind of three places, right? So the first place is French, but I feel like that's a bit too on the nose to draw from, because it's like, get it? It's wink, the revolutionary wink. The second one is German. And the only reason is because I'm currently learning German, and it's I don't know. You often put what you're currently experiencing into your work, and then the third one I was wanting to do was, and this is kind of a cheat answer, but I wanted to do a country that's not European, because I kind of want to include other parts of the world because I don't want to make this Eurocentric, and I want to actually represent other countries. Because when you talk about...
Seems fair.
And if I can possibly go on one small tangent, I think that's always a problem that creeps into a lot of like Western fantasy. Is it's like, oh man, all our Western stuff is great, but we're also going to crib a little bit from other countries and cultures, but we're not really going to take any of what we're cribbing. We're just going to take the ideas and be like, yeah, we had these, you know, and it's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, but that's just my thing with it. So I want to actually like represent it, but I don't know what country I would pick if it was going to be not French or German. I don't want to do English though, because I always find that's like the lamest one, where it's just like, oh, it's ye olde land of, and then like say Yorkshire, but like twist the words around a little bit or something, you know.
York.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire. The revolutionary state of Yorkshire. No.
But yeah, what? Or actually, now that I've said all of this, I am speaking to someone who speaks another language, so we could base it off that as well. I wouldn't begrudge that.
You could do that, but I feel like then you're throwing the ball at me. Whereas, I mean, this is your revolutionary state.
I know it.
And
wow,
you
yeah.
promised
when you say
you'd
it like
come
that,
up with a name for it.
What?
I can help. Yeah. I'm fine with it. No. It's also I've been doing that a lot lately, though. When we briefly played that Old School Essentials campaign in the Court Realms, basically that was just my local area in a map with names changed.
That's fair enough. No, that is fair enough. How about we go with I'm trying to think of part of the world not so Eurocentric. I mean, yeah, because German is kind of on the nose as well.
Yeah, but it does have like you have the whole 1848 style, like the revolutionary period there.
Okay. Yeah, let's go with German then. Let's go with the kind of German sounding name.
Bubble Reg is suggesting South America, and I mean then you've got the San Martins and Bernardo O'Higgins and Bolivar, obviously, kind of situation going on.
Yeah. I mean, the fun thing, the reality is there's not really any country in the world where it's like, let's talk about revolution that isn't like, oh yeah, they have had a revolution. I think everywhere in the world has gone, this sucks, we should do something about it. Hopefully nothing will get out of hand. Oh, it got out of hand. Oh, it got so out of hand.
So quickly.
Guys, just trust me. Just trust this one person. Oh, okay.
In all honesty, it usually comes down to like, these changes need to be made. No, I don't want to make them. Well, you know, you're kind of pushing us into a corner here.
Yeah, that is very true.
And then, yeah.
We'll try and make them diplomatically. No, I don't want to.
People will get angry. No. The great monarchs of history. So, Germany, South America.
I could be a weeb and go for Japan, but I'm not going to do that because that in and of itself is a form of Western adoption of things, and that's not fair. I actually really like Bubble Reg's suggestion of, well, we could say Spanish then.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a very international language. It's something that I am not extremely familiar with, but I'm also familiar with it enough to kind of bring it in there. Yeah, I think, I like Spanish. I'm assuming that's what Bubble Reg meant.
Yeah, every word with an O or something. I don't know. My Spanish is non-existent, so.
Well, we can think about it. Like, we now have the linguistic touchstone, and Mert can become something else. We can kind of we have to avoid that thing. which I used to do. Oh, excuse me, growing up, which was just find the word for it in another language, then call it that. So it's like, oh, this is freedom land, but it doesn't say freedom land. It says freedom in this language and then land in this language. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's so dumb. Because it just takes one person with a dictionary or a translator to go.
But if you do the opposite, and you just pick out random places on the world map and translate them, that's usually what you'll end up with as well.
That is also true.
Oh, it really is called Freedom Land.
Yeah, or Fredonia.
This place is next to a lake. Something like that.
Lakeland.
Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe
so Spanish, but we're thinking more towards South America then. So
definitely
like revolutionary states of South America. Well, they all came out of that, because before that they were the Spanish Americas. What did you have at the time? Gran Colombia, which was what is now Colombia, Venezuela, and Ecuador. Yeah. Bolivia, obviously. Peru, Chile.
What if we went with? I'm trying to think.
Grenada.
What I think, and this is just me, what I think is that the people would not have changed the name prior to the revolution, if that makes sense. Like, they still called France, and many people keep the name, but you change the context. So
and the flag.
I think, yeah, exactly. So I think we need to think of it. Well, I need to think of a name that would reflect. I'm just gonna call it Mert as a nation before the revolution, as well as now. So I'm thinking maybe.
Well, in the period prior to the revolutions, or the Spanish-American revolutions, they were not so much divided into like countries as sort of districts that were run by and then it would be based on the largest town or city in that area that was most well known. But I'd but Bubble Reg wants to combine Wales with South America, seemingly.
Real Madrid. Oh my god. I don't know. Do we want to go with punny names?
Well, I think having come up with names like Goof and Onia and Seko and stuff, Gula, like it would be.
It does set us up, yeah.
I don't know. It would be kind of like weird to then have one that is just completely a pun. Well,
they're all just like me changing one letter of. Okay,
I know.
Well, how about we do that then? How about we? I have a name for it, right? You've now reminded me. I apologize. We will try. I do want to integrate other cultures in, but I now want to just call it Aris because that's Paris without the P. Because I've literally just done that for most of the other names, so that's it. This is now the revolutionary state of Aris.
I'm gonna have to update the flag.
And it sounds like Aries for war, and it sounds like other words that I can't think of right now, but I will think of soon. Because, and this is, I will give you a Nye fact about writing. You don't have to be witty and smart. You just have to pretend that you are and hope people will believe you.
Well, yeah. See, I've been trying that for years. No one believes me.
Well, you need to find people who are more willing to be like, oh, even if they are also, tricking you. But then it's quite mutual, isn't it? Because you're all like, oh, this is actually quite fun.
Is that the core of writing then? Just like groups of people mutually tricking each other into thinking they're smart and
I mean, that's
punny.
Oh no, I feel bad now saying that. There are lots of lovely writers out there in the world. I'm sitting next to one.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, is there someone
Virtually,
there with you?
virtually. No, virtually. You're right next to me. I know on the capture we're above each other, but for me on the Discord we're left to
we're
right.
next to each other.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so we've got Addis and
that
might. I think we've got the linguistic touchstone for every
touchstone,
nation.
Yeah, it's just linguistic touchstone. How do we put that in? I shall add maybe Spanish for Bubble Reg's suggestion, and also dropping letters from existing names.
I'm sorry. I wish I could be more witty and smart, but that's what I'm doing.
That's how I name half of the things in stuff I made as well.
It does actually, now that I'm reading it properly, this is what it says. So written, it says, conventional fantasy names tend to be random nonsense syllables picked from the creator's cultural phenonym stock, and place often end up as the city of adjective noun or the noun river. While some of this can work perfectly well, it's easier for the GM to pick some obscure or extinct real-world language known to nobody at the table and use it for its names. Wow, so, I feel called out.
So, how is your Sanskrit?
Damn, I'd be more happy if someone was like, "That's Sanskrit, you cheat," and I'd be like, "Oh." Latin is the one that gets me because people love using Latin, and it's like it works so long as the people don't actually know a little bit of Latin. And I did zoology, so I know quite a bit of Latin. So it's a bit like, oh, okay, that's just water you've said there.
That's like the problem in my local game where we were playing Lex Arcana. I think myself and one other person were the only ones who didn't have any background in Latin. So I'm running the game and I don't know what. Trying to pronounce things in Latin was great fun.
So,
its history.
Yes, I was about to say that. I hope everyone's having fun. I don't want to be too silly because I don't want this to.
Everyone at home, if you want us to shut up and get on with things, feel free to tell us.
Yeah, exactly. So, flashlight history. So it says you already have an event or two related to that you generate at the regional level, which we did in the previous episode. So now it's saying to do again, but we do 2 or 3 or 4 more events, but this is more local. to Addis.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a year-by-year timeline of the past, but half a dozen solid events can help inform the kingdom's current state. Okay. So we're going back to the previous tables, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Let's find it. That big old table of what crazy things are going on. History, construction.
Yeah. Yes. So that would be page...
Historical events, page 139. And then... you roll on that table on page 139, and basically everything, the explanation for it is on page 138, the page before it.
Okay.
And it's a D100 table, so there you go.
Okay. Cool. Right, I shall do that now. So we're rolling 3 or 4. Should we go with 4 to double up?
Yeah. Sure.
This is just for Addis, so... sorry, I have to get my dice set up and it made it go away. So we'll do 4 and then we'll go through it, but I just want to roll it now because it'll save. Okay, so the first one is 68. So that is plague. Oh boy, that's always a fun one to have on your history book.
Yeah.
So plague, as defined in this, is a sickness of vast scope, culled many of the group, and may yet linger in some form. Okay. I think I've done plagues before and stuff that I've written. I know where I want to go with this. So I think it would be fair to say that the plague was caused by something from trade, so something coming in, perhaps with the increase of the magic ships that we have, the big, the really big like
world traveling ships.
They have brought something from some of the other kingdoms to Aris, and that has led to the plague. Now, what they are is up to us imagination-wise. I think rats would be a little bit on the nose, but it would potentially have to be some kind of thing, maybe a plant, maybe a plant in the fast-growing fertilizer, which has released this pathogen, perhaps as a defense mechanism. And that, actually, I like that. So yeah, the plague has come from a type of plant which has been contaminated the fertilizer they've imported, and in their conquest of like growing lots of trees, it sprouted up with it and made people sick. If I'm being personally honest, I'm not a big fan of going into detail about illness, because I don't think it's super necessary. I don't know anyone who's like, yes, very vividly detailed, describe people being in pain. It's like, no. So we'll do the Victorian thing where we just say they have sickness, and we have no idea what that is, but that cannot be good.
Let me just grab him a second. Keep going though, Nye.
Yep. So if the sickness is afflicting people, we will not call it the sickness. I will come up for a name for it. I do apologize, because I know that's not fun for anyone. I was thinking perhaps due to due to the proximity. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He has grown up quickly.
They do that.
They do. Anyway, sorry, I've been distracted. The what I was thinking was it's perhaps targeted like farmers and people who work the land, especially because they're the ones actually handling the thing. I would preferably like it to be something more in the background, kind of more of a scar thing, because personally speaking, I always find when you throw that into a game world that's currently existing, players tend to be like, oh, we better worry about this, and you're like, oh boy.
Yeah.
As a GM, I personally don't want to be putting that kind of strain on the players.
It could be like if they're coming from an agrarian society. Now we really are going into what we promised we wouldn't do, the like agrarian history of the French Revolution. But yeah, if they're coming from that, it like the fact that farmers were getting ill and that was causing problems in food supply and stuff could have been one of the kick-off events for the actual revolution itself.
I was thinking that, the kind of lack. So perhaps. Well, I was thinking if we want to diverge slightly, but also not at the same time from the history books, perhaps there was a brief spree of very wealthy nobles who had bought it for like, a big fancy garden or something, and then they got sick, and that's when people started to act. So the common people are like, oh, I see how it is. Hundreds and thousands of us die, nothing. A couple of hoity-toities die. Suddenly it's, man the stations and let's save some people. And I can imagine the local people being like, oh, fuck this. Like, I guess we really are, I can talk slower because I know you're a little bit preoccupied with
no, it's all right. I'm just also trying to type one-handed. But
that's what I'm saying, yeah. Ask him to type.
Mostly at the moment, like, he can just sort of look at people and go, meh. Serve me. I said,
that's very good. Yeah, that's a very good thing that babies have, though. Oh, I just want to look after you. Yes, my plan has worked. Look, adorable.
Look at me, I'm so cute.
Exactly. So, we could call it how about we call it the Grove's Plague, because it would particularly attacked. Grove is a term for trees, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to say orchard.
Have groves, but yeah.
I was going to say orchard's death, perhaps.
Yeah, they both sound fairly like they both suit. Yeah, well, you don't tend to call plagues or whatever like something very complicated that is in no way related to what's going on. If there's a specific kind of trigger, you're going to name it after that, aren't you? Or if there's the presumption of a specific kind of trigger.
Yeah. Well, it's like bubonic plague. It's like, the lumps you get are buboes. That's what they're called. So it's bubonic plague. Or scarlet fever. You turn scarlet. Oh my god, I'm having a crisis now where I'm realizing that all human language is just, there's a thing. Yeah. Let's call it that.
Oh, I was very aware of that.
Okay.
I was recently looking at one of those maps of like what the etymology was of country and place names, and it's just this is these people who live here, and they lived next to a river, so this place is called the land of those people who lived next to the river.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
No,
there's lots of hills here. We'll call it Hill Land.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
These people are called the Rus. We shall call this place Russa, but that sounds silly, so we'll call it Russia. Yeah, exactly. I think that's enough. If we want to build on it a bit more, we can, but I think that sums up best. So
what we calling it then?
I think we'll call it the Orchard's Death. Or the that makes it sound like the orchards are the ones dying.
Right. Well, if you just make it orchard death, then about that death.
I mean, bark sickness. No, that again sounds like I'm talking about the trees. Gotta get away from the trees. Away from the trees now. Get your head in the game. Head in the game.
There are other types. Other types of plants are available.
Yes, they are. How about we call it the torpor sleep, which is a classic example of sleep, but or torpor sickness, just the idea that you go completely rigid when you're super unwell, kind of like Snow White or Sleeping Beauty kind of thing, except a Prince Charming or some other ostensibly attractive person doesn't come over and kiss you, and that doesn't cure you. You just you get very sick and then you die, which is really sad.
Also, randomly kissing corpses in forests seems like a weird thing to do as a person.
I mean, if we're going for like a kind of dark humor kind of thing, maybe that's what people thought. Like, if I kiss this person, maybe they'll wake up and we'll be happily married. And then it's like, nope, you just spread the sickness to yourself, and now you're gonna fall asleep somewhere.
It's the kissing disease, but it's really bad.
No, I imagine like 2 or 3 people did that, and everyone else is like, why would you think that's a good idea? I mean, there's so many problems with it. They're just lying there like frozen, like... Okay, so the next one that I picked was Great Awakening. Well, picked, I mean rolled. 37, Great Awakening, which is a tremendous wave of reform, purification, and recommitment to venerable values swept through the group.
Oh, is that our old friend David Montague?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I remember David Montague now. Oh my god. Yes, we need David Montague back. Well, not back, but you know what I mean, more involved.
Yeah, for people who didn't watch not last week, the week before that show, David Montague is the revolutionary state of Aras's personal Robespierre.
Yes. Blue Wolf SK just suggested withering for the plan, and I kind of like that now. So maybe withering torpor, maybe is a.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Blue Wolf. It is greatly appreciated. Yes.
And that's why
this is going to turn
always
into
lovely
me just
to have people
the chat.
in chat. Yeah, precisely.
Chat, help me out, please. I need the help.
That's why we love you being around, chat people.
Exactly. Yes. So I'm thinking now. Are we wanting to make this a genuinely good reform, or is it more kind of like a cynical? It's for reform. It's also so I can attain absolute power, but it's reform. It's all get complete power. I just want the power. It's like, oh, what's that whispering he's doing on stage? I don't know. It's just let him have this.
Yeah, it's just how he talks. Don't worry about it.
I am.
No one's going to
the
take
people.
absolute power.
Yeah. I want to do good for the humble people.
I mean, it could also like just spiral out of their control so quickly that. Because obviously they started off with a specific idea of reform in mind, and then the political situation changes so quickly and so frequently that you end up in this situation.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
So, this is not a problem that I realized kind of into it, but say somebody wanted to do kind of more like a traditional fantasy setting in the sense like, you know, shields and armor and sabers, and we're kind of leaning more to a more early 19th. Yeah. What if we say that one of the reforms that Montague tried to enact too successfully was a return to old values, and he meant that in like and there should only be one person in charge kind of thing. But what it turned into was an almost literal translation where there are some parts of Aris, like, you know, more communes or villages rather than whole states, that are straight up like, we should be like using old timey technology, and we should be using old systems of structure. And it's like, no, don't do that, please. No, you're completely destroying. No, we should definitely use like, and the older versions of things, kind of to help explain anachronisms, even though we're having a completely fictitious setting. I always find it's kind of fun. I don't know. I'm a history nerd, so I kind of like when somebody gives a little wink nod. It's like, yes, I know this doesn't make sense why these things are living together at the same time. Even though we know throughout history, there are many times where people use old understandings. For example, if you're familiar with World War I and World War II helmets, the Broady helmet made by the British and the Stahl helm for the Germans were based off of medieval helmets. The Broady is based off those kind of like saucepan hats that you would see.
Oh, basically the helmets that the English soldiers had in the 100 Years' War. Yep.
And they functioned fairly the same, like in what they were going for. Broadies are designed to, I mean, both, clear thing, they weren't made to stop bullets in the First World War. They were made to stop shrapnel, not the other way around. Which sucked if you were the soldier that didn't get that memo. I'll just pop my head up. Boom. Yeah, they're not. Oh,
sorry. He's flying away.
That was you were like Rafiki with Simba,
I was recently talking about that, how that film is basically about how this one lion is abused by his parents into becoming the evil villain of the whole thing, because you call one of them like Mustafa, and then he's got a son, Mufasa, and then he's got a son soon,
Scar.
And then like Scar, and apparently my wife was saying he had a name before that, and it like literally means trash. So I wonder why he was so angry about everything.
I think the thing I find so funny about that film, apologies going on a tangent, is that there's so many people that are like, Scar's awesome, and you're like, you know what, he is like, it's Jeremy Irons being charismatic, so you're like, no, this is pretty good actually. I mean, everyone else is great, but I just love the idea that it's like, man, the villain is so cool. It's like, no, he's the bad guy, we're not meant to agree with him. Yeah, but okay, so I think I don't want to expand on it more than that. Just kind of like it's kind of created weird anachronisms where some villages are like, oh no, we've totally embraced like old calendars are always a good one. Like, oh yeah, no, this is the 12th day of Snoresbury, and it's like, what? That was like 800 years ago. It's like, yeah, but it was better.
That's like the. I want to say revolutionary calendar, but I know it's not called that, is it? No, but you know that brief period. And they were like, no, today is the. Yeah, they had 32nd day of leek or whatever.
It was a decimal calendar. So hours were decimal. So you had 10 hours in a day, and an hour was composed of 100 minutes, and each minute was. It was very strange. The reason why it never took off was actually more because of people going, wait a minute, I'm getting like buggered out of other holidays. What the fuck is this? You're giving me 4 holidays at the end of the year, and that's it. Like, fuck you.
Well, it was pretty much the same also with like the idea of the weekend as well. Like, oh no, there's 10 days now. You can still have 2 days off, but you know, only well, like, that one day that you have off is now every 10 days instead of every 7 days.
Exactly. Yeah, it's conceptually, you should look up. It's very interesting to read, but it's definitely not something anybody would want to work under unless it had been reformed to be way more pro worker.
But see, that was that bit where everything was very fluid, and they were just like, if you can come up with a modern idea that represents the ideals of the revolution, just promote it and we'll do it. Yay, we'll do anything.
I can't like that idea.
Then after that they started getting taken over by more and more authoritarian people. I like, but sorry, I like the concept that that's what's happened. Like, he said, return to old values, and people have taken very different readings of that. And some people, of course, ignored him and been like, no, fuck, what the fuck are you talking about? We have, like, great things here. Why would we go backwards? But okay. I will move on to the third one, which is, apologies if these are abrupt shifts. That's kind of my... And lengthy explanations of things that have nothing to do with what we're
But that's
talking
also me. You have to understand that this is something that Lewis has been acclimatized to with playing like on Garblag and just hanging out in general. Is my weird like.
The problem is I'm like that as well. So that's
I know, that's why it was so easy for you to acclimatize. So I got 22 enemies within. Enemies within is defined as a hostile subgroup inside the group. Worked to do it. Okay, I'm going to read this again. A hostile subgroup inside the group worked to do it evil, perhaps on behalf of a neighbor or due to some old grudge.
That's our key word of espionage?
Yep, it is.
How does it fit in then?
So do we want to go back to Couve? Because we did say that there had been a Couvian death of a royal, and that's I remember this now because we were talking about how to, like, what gendered terms you would use for monarchs, and we decided that, anyway. So I'm thinking that Couve, because they were doing a lot of spying, like Couve have become pretty big spies, they've left some people in there and they're trying to do the counter-revolutionary thing, but it's not that successful. It's working but unless, you know, it's I'm thinking kind of like again, using French history, like the Paris Commune, where it's like all of France was like, yeah, no, we're kind of done with the empire. Napoleon III shit, but the Paris Commune was like, yeah, we should have communism, and the rest of France is like, whoa, no, not communism, just republic, just republicanism. We'll go back to that. That worked. No, communism. Let's do it. Don't be bitches. I think I like that's what
that is always. But I like that part of French history where that's always Paris versus the rest of France. Like,
I love Paris.
We could just, we could change something a little bit. Oh yeah, I've actually recently come by a very, very extremely new idea that we should implement.
Like, whoa.
Ooh.
That's one of the things I love about reading French history, where it's just like, it's just Paris like kicking off, and the rest of France is like, whoa, okay, we gotta deal with this. I love it. But yeah, I think that's what Couve is doing. They've sent spies in, and through their actions, there is a counter-revolutionary group. But it's not crazy successful, probably because, not that it's extreme, just it's trying to take air from an already still fairly fresh revolutionary ideal. Yeah. So it's like, we're revolutionary, but we're a different kind of revolutionary, which I will not go on a tangent for this. I will say, though, if you look at history, that happens a lot. There are a lot of revolutions where there's several different types of revolutionaries, and they usually are pinned on if those revolutionary groups can unite against the status quo they're fighting, or if they start infighting and then collapse in on themselves, which can also happen. But yes, I don't want to go further than that. I'm not quite sure yet.
No, you don't.
Kind of counter-revolution there. Yeah.
It's just a fun one to have, because it's also potentially like a group that the players can end up interacting with.
Exactly. Yeah. Whether
they know it or not to start with, they can come into contact with these people. Yeah.
And the final one that I rolled, the fourth one, was 12. Oh my god, this is amazing. Decadence. Old strengths and glories crumble away into decadent remnants, the group becoming indulgent and indolent. Okay, so, indolent, and indulgent. Okay, let's just be frank. We all know who this is going to be. It's my main man, David Montague.
Oh, David Montague.
I love David Montague. He's an awful person, but I love that I've created this. Sitting back, sipping. Yes, this is a fine year. It's like, sir, you're not meant to be like, the new revolution leader. Are you just copying what the king was doing before? No, of course
not.
No. I have the title king.
Yeah, precisely.
That's all. Yes.
I'm supreme dictator of the Arisians, rather than the king of Aris.
Exactly. It is exactly the case. Okay.
My power and wine comes from the people.
Exactly. Directly. I took it from you're not helping your case. Let me do the speaking for you. I actually learned something because I was watching something about Robespierre. Sorry. Do you know he banned slavery in France during the revolution? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And Oh, sorry.
No, that also, it's like a very interesting connect with the Haitian Revolution that was going on at the time as well.
Yeah. Which is a very interesting case of, which we're not getting into, pinky promise, but I will say it is interesting if you should read about Napoleon and his interactions with the Americas, because it's very interesting in a kind of, I don't really like, it almost feels like he had to like get up out of his chair to talk about, fucking Louisiana, fuck. Right, okay, we'll deal with, give me like 20 for Louisiana. Yeah, sure, yeah, there we go. Cool, we'll build some ships with these. Thanks, just have it. Anyway, I think, so the previous like revolutionary leaders have fallen into their own decadence and excess, and now people are going, this is reminding me of the previous regime.
Okie dokie.
Okay, quite happy with that. What I love, and I mean this sincerely, I would love it if someone was to come to me and be like, oh, this world building sucks, it's so derivative, and it's like, that may be the case, but I had a lot of fun with a friend doing it, so I actually don't care. I don't know, it's got a big smile on my face because of it.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
And no one can claim, aside from the giant ships and magical trees, that it doesn't have any basis in reality.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Let's get out a giant book of the French Revolution and go, here.
Here. They had magic trees. They did? Oh god, I missed that part.
Yeah. Haven't you heard? Like the whole battle for the Vendée went on so long just purely because of the magical trees.
Yeah,
they had to get past the magical trees and then fight each other amongst the magical trees.
Exactly.
It's a whole problem.
I'm now imagining the trees from The Wizard of Oz, but like actually like in the costumes, not like realistic. These damned trees, they're throwing apples at us. So, okay, I'm having to think. So, the next part is decide how it's ruled and identify the ruler. I think that would be David Montague, wouldn't it? Currently, with the previous rulers being. Did we establish David Montague as the current supreme ruler, or was it someone else?
The last thing was that we did on the top-down level for the actual really important event that's happening right now is the wicked minister David Montague has just been deposed. So it's like the very freshest of news.
Okay, so what would we say, like a regional council has been set up?
Well, it also depends on like what the end result of that was as well. Is David Montague and the old leadership, are they still at large, in which case they're probably claiming to still be the leadership, and then you have this sort of revolutionary council that they've set up who are also claiming to be the leadership, but they have the advantage of actually owning the building where
I kind of like that idea. Like, it's not a civil war again. Like, nobody's actually, like, the people are not armed, but it's this kind of awkward, well, he says he's the leader, but these guys are actually at the place of leadership, but they're new. So I kind of like that idea, that there's this kind of political schism going on, mostly created through some guys bickering.
Yeah.
And I think for a change from the French Revolution, I don't want it to be this super violent thing. I do want it to be kind of just super pedantic.
Yeah.
Like, he's taking up residence in the other building, like across the street, going, "I'm still in charge," and everyone's like, "No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Go away."
Yeah. There's a boat waiting for you. Why are you not on it?
Where's my wine? Oh, for God's sake, don't give him the wine. I don't know. I like that. I think that's more amicable.
That might be day one of discussions in the Revolutionary Council, being like, should we or shouldn't we tempt him onto the boat by just putting a bunch of wine on there?
Ooh, a bottle of wine. Ooh, a bottle of wine. I like that. Because we don't want it to go full heads chopping off stuff, because we want the
I think we want to avoid the Madame la Guillotine part of the French Revolution.
So the next one I think is also a little bit already been established, because it's identify the enemies of the rulers, and as we've established, it's most of the other nations around them. We've mentioned a counter-revolutionary group. It's that kind of, everybody's like, hey, this revolution shit, we're not liking it because we're all still monarchs. So No, but it has reached a stalemate where it's not like we're being invaded right now from all sides. Everyone has kind of tried, but I like the idea that they are kind of a bit not interested as well, because they don't want to all go to war at the same time.
Yeah.
I can kind of see Kuv being like, no, I'm not going to war with the Aris, because then you guys will make me do all the fighting, or like Seko will be like, no, we've got all those demons we released. What demons? I mean, no.
No.
We didn't release any demons.
There's no demons.
You silly gooses.
That's just stories.
Exactly.
Stories you've heard.
Yeah.
From people who were eaten by demons.
The next one is choose one or more problems or goals it's facing.
Yep.
Now, is this... So this is on the more local level, so we're not...
Yeah.
Okay, so it says go to 135 for that.
I think probably best to do a problem and a goal.
Yeah, at the same time.
135.
I'm scrolling as well. Scroll like you've never scrolled before. Okay, so
What problems?
yeah, one rule government details.
See, there was a thingy for how established is the current ruler, but I think we can say they are very newly ascended to.
As I was saying, as we go forward, there'll be some times where we just kind of go, oh, well, we don't really need to roll for this because we've already established a lore, and that's where it can get complicated, where you're like, oh, well, he's recently deposed, but we also rolled, they have an extensive support network. Oh, like, we don't want to do that. So I'm assuming we want... Are we on one rule government? That's what we're meant to be on, or are we on history construction?
I believe. Well, wait. Let's see. So the strength of the government. How stable is it?
Sorry, I'll scroll up again. Apologies, folks.
History construction. How did they originate?
It says.
It depends on really what you like. At this point, we're creating a problem.
What was the regional stuff that we decided for Aris? Like we gave a regional concern they were having, but
their current national problem is I'm not lying when I read this off. A reoccurring plant plague is causing hunger. Hunger isn't fixed yet, but they hope to resolve it with
I forgot the
land
hunger
trade
problem.
Yeah, so we actually had already established the plant plague before we.
But but see, there's a twist because most plant plague kill the plants. We're killing the
we're killing people. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure it's also not good for the plants. Hence the hunger.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's up to you.
So I'd say problem. They're still trying to solve this.
Yeah,
this
and
hunger.
the goal is to. So are we saying the plague's still virulent, or are we saying?
I think their idea was that it's sort of because that was also what we established last time with the national problem, that sort of the plague part of it has gone or is dying down, but they still have the problem that they just don't have enough food.
Mm-hmm.
So it's affected crops enough that the hunger part hasn't been solved yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think that's their problem, and their goal would be to fix it. Actually, tying that together, that's probably why the other kingdoms have not invaded, because of the infestation that they're suffering from. So, like, whoa, we don't want to plant our trees in there if they're going to get infected, and that makes the land worthless.
It also ties quite nicely into Montague's decadence and the other leaders' decadence. Like, if people are hungry and you see the old revolutionary leaders sitting there drinking their wine and eating God knows what, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
That probably helped push them to depose them. So what would you say Aris's current goal is, or the government of Aris's current goal is?
To reinstate control, because we've talked about a lot of crazy stuff that's going on, from demon plagues to weird and anachronistic village uprisings to a counter-revolutionary group to another revolutionary from another kingdom that they're keeping safe, which is pissing off Danu, isn't it? Is it Danu I'm thinking of?
I think it was Danu.
Danu,
run back up,
we have a revolutionary. So I think Aris is looking at their situation going, whoa, we need to take a chill pill, we need to relax, and we need to fix our shit because there's a lot of problems all about to hit our doorstep at once.
Yeah. So they're trying to reinstate control and stabilize themselves.
And Montague's in the other building across the street going, no,
Yelling
I'm in charge.
I'm in charge, and then just drinking wine all day.
Yeah, exactly. Not actually doing anything. That's why they've kept him alive, because he just is like super annoying and he's harmless.
It's not like he's really that much of a problem.
No, not at all. Maybe he did come in with ideals, but they were all laid bare against the cold, hard truth of decadence.
He really likes wine
and tiny cakes. Wine and tiny cakes.
I'm just imagining him like with entire plates full of thingies now, macaroons, and like ooh.
I can see why the king liked these so much. So the next part is make a rough map of the area, but we've been skirting around those issues. That's okay. We'll get around to it eventually.
It's not really,
So now we get into place, ethnic groups, and demi-humans.
Yep.
And I would like to do my thing for that, which is yes, we will have people that do not have all the same bits and pieces as what we recognize as humans. So maybe like longer ears or scales or whatever. But a clear thing I want to make is to the people living in that world, they are people. So it's not like, oh my God, you're a lizard man. It's like, whoa, that's Jerry. Yeah. That is our neighbor, dude. The fuck is wrong with you? Like, it's
no,
very,
I think, we established that quite early on as well, that like there isn't, this is the distant land of the elusive elves or whatever.
Exactly.
Everyone lives everywhere.
Exactly.
Big old mix
and
up.
If you get pissed off about like these dwarves or whatever, it's like, oh no, you're just a shitty person. Like in universe, you're just an awful piece of shit, and people don't like you. I think that's fair. I don't think I'm out of line saying that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you want to throw out the usual suspects of, like demi-humans,
if it's okay,
other species of humanoid life, or
there is
do you want to make some?
Isn't there? Yeah. Do correct me if I say, is there a table? Because you have to understand, I have table everything.
You just you just love the fact that there are so many tables in here, don't you? It is a great book for world building tables. Let's see. I think it's further past.
For future people out there, you want to get me to do something with you, just tell me about the tables, and I'll be like, tables.
That's all I did. I was like, I've got this book, and there's a bunch of tables in it, and I was, I'm in. Table salad. See, I'm going through courts and all sorts here, but not really ruins. Because this is all very, very close.
Oh, is it
level.
129?
Don't think. I'll have a look. Is that more like villages and stuff?
It says society construction for 128, and then 129 is physical appearance. But
yeah,
I think that
but they're not like what are the different. That's just these people of this area look like that kind of system, whereas what we're going for is areas having larger mixes. Like they may have some the idea of like common forms of adornment and stuff for an area. That's right, fine with that. But going everyone in the revolutionary state of Aris is dark brown and mocha shades, which is 2 on the D8 table seems like, just seems a bit silly.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm trying to find if... Yeah, you're right. I can't really find...
Yeah, you can just make them up now.
Yeah,
I've heard that this is something that you can do in RPGs.
Up. I know. Okay.
So obviously we'll have humans.
Humans, yep. I'm trying to think. I guess they're baseline humans, like just
humans wandering around.
They're called regulars. No, actually, that's a bad idea. Not that. No, bad idea. Pop that out. Throw it in the corner.
Yeah.
Set on
just
fire.
Go humans, whatever the other peoples are, and yeah.
Well, they're all human. It's just, I don't know. Maybe that's the thing we do. Maybe there aren't like regular schmoes. Maybe everybody, to us as people in the real world, it's like, oh, they're different from us. But to them, it's like, nah, Reg is a dwarf. I'm an elf, but we're both human. It's just, like, I really hope I don't know any Regs. I don't think I do. Yeah, it's fine.
Bubble Reg.
Oh no, I do. Oh no, that's where I got the name. No, sorry, Bubble Reg. That's what I mean. Like, how do you think that idea works?
Yeah. Well, what are you like in that case? What are you going to call humans?
Oh, do we have to have humans? Is that like
no? Is that what you want to do then? So there's
that's what I'm saying. So they,
human.
So they use the term human.
Human is a person who exists, is sentient and lives in yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like that more because it's like as you said to take wisdom from your words. You said that like we shouldn't. No, seriously. You said that we shouldn't constrain ourselves to the rules and bounds of the real world.
Yeah.
So why do things that don't look the same as us have to be in, or things that look like us have to be in the world? It's a fantasy world. I think that I was thinking maybe that there's a couple ways of doing it. And I guess this depends on your GM as well and what system you're running. So it could be that everybody looks different periods. Like everybody, the only commonality is like maybe 2 legs, 2 arms, but even then it's like not really. And it's on an individual basis. So I guess that would give onus to the players. It's like, hey, like it won't have a mechanical play, but you can have 3 eyes or flame for hair or something. But then that kind of, I guess that's a lot of pressure on the GM because it's like every NPC they meet has to have like a unique characteristic that cannot be replicated. So I guess the alternative would be there are. I think I will take the creative crutch here and just say there are fantasy people of varying groups, but so it's like, yes, there are elves, yes, there are dwarves, yes, there are centaur, but by the definition in universe. They all consider themselves human. They all live as equals, and you're a piece of shit if you think that there is. No, they are different. But I
do like the idea that rather than humans as a species, as it usually is, that human is the common denominator term for all sentient life, basically.
I like that more.
Yeah,
and also makes it easier. Yeah, because it's the a big rule that I have is I don't like making, if I'm going to make up pretend words, the pretend words have to be easy to say, and if I'm not, then they should be words. So if someone says human and you're in the game, it's like, oh well, they don't mean me, but I do understand what they're saying.
Yeah,
it's a person. Yeah. I kind of don't want to get into like the specifics again, partially because I would like the setting to be a little bit open to what the players and GM want to run. So if you're not, for example, you might not really want to play somebody with scales and a tail, and it might be like, okay, well, there are scaly taily people here, but you don't have to be one. We could do like there are perhaps more centaur like people around here, but I feel like
but I think in this case it's defined enough. Like we've said, basically the fantasy style species exists, and the common denominator is if you're a person, you're called a human.
Yeah, exactly. I like the idea also that that I also like the concept that like if they ever get to our understanding of evolution, the tree is just this sprawling like when you look at human evolution, it's like a nice neat line with deviations and things, but for their world it would be like this huge, like, man, there's a lot of different types of people in the world, and it's like, and it's great. It's awesome.
That would be fun to come across, like the players come across a scientist working on the tree of evolution, basically.
Like, there's a lot going in here.
I've got
writing down with a quill.
Here's my 4 or 5 previous volumes.
I think it's nice. I hope people like that as a concept.
So then we don't really need to define ethnic groups or whatever any more than that?
Not really. I think perhaps the only thing that comes up with people would be that people are now starting to recognize themselves as individuals of the nation. It's like, I'm a Kuvian, I'm an Arisan, I'm a whatever, but that's still in its infancy. And obviously, like, people will live in specific parts, like, I'm in the north of Aris, and I'm a northerner, and I'm a southern Arisian. It's like, those northerners, we don't like them, we love them, but, it's a love-hate kind of thing. We wouldn't admit that to them. And then northerners like, those southerners, they're great, but we won't admit that to them, because, like, that'd be, like, embarrassing. I'm now imagining, like, a public assembly, like, the diplomats from, like, the north and south meet. It's just like, hello there. God, you guys are lame. So are you. You're awesome too. We love what you do with the oranges. Yeah, we love what you guys do with, like, the coal. I mean, no official business. No, I have I apologize for my weird mannerisms.
That's fine.
So flesh out so the next one is flesh out the society and style of the kingdom and its occupants, and it does actually give a page number for this. 128. This is where I look at 128 and I'm like, we've been here before.
Yeah, you have, but now you're going like deeper into detail of a play. Basically, what we can do is create like some kind of zones within it.
Okay. 128 is just the
128
society construction, it says. So I'm assuming I go a little bit further down past to values
so
of
we've
society.
done the physical thingy. Yeah, that's the overarching theme of Aris society, but we may have actually already rolled for that. I think maybe.
I think we have, yeah.
Their theme was. Oh no, we didn't. We rolled on a different table for something similar because, their theme ended up being expansion. But that's like a one word theme for this. So yeah.
I could roll a D100, see what we get, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah.
No, you gotta stop. There's too many tables. I can't stop. The tables, I must roll.
You'll just
a 99.
endlessly dream about 99. Wow. Societal or ethnic superiority over all superiority over all outsiders. Nah.
It's not. Yeah, I'm not really feeling that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say they want to spread the revolution.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably about the closest. But I don't know if that is a new value for the people. Would you say? I don't know.
Well, the whole idea of spreading the revolution probably is a fairly new value for them, but like, do we want it to be based on their idea of being superior to everyone else?
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's not true. I might reroll. I'll use my one reroll. It's not like Garblag where I get like 12 rerolls, but one.
No, in this case, it's just us making stuff up, so you can re-roll or choose.
I'm not kidding. I got 99 and then I got 1, literally other ends of the table. 1 is individual rights and freedom of action. Now we're talking.
Yeah, this is what it's all been about.
Yeah, it's about freedom, but we're not entirely sure how freedom works because it's new. So we're just trying stuff out.
Pretty sure now it's not whatever David Montague was trying to do.
I like the idea that I've had this thought and I just want to express it. It's like where it's like, I believe we should all wear clogs. It's like, okay, Dave, give it a shot. And like he's walking around in clogs like, yes, this is my freedom. And that's like one of Montague's weird policies is now there's lots of towns and hamlets and even some cities where there's just weird like things going on because like, no, this is our freedom. This is what we want to do. And I just love the diversity of like, no, shirts are now banned. Everyone must wear tunics. Like, so they're all sleeveless.
They really like working out in that in that town.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's like built like even like the children are like
yeah. Got to get ready for tunic season.
Oh god, the crazy shit that we come up with.
That's why we do it.
It is why we do it. That is very much why we do it. Okay.
Also, to come back to a point from last time, if people have any ideas about what system we should use to maybe eventually run a game set in this, true. Just let us know what your suggestions are.
World. Yeah. So that's what we need to do for the theme, isn't it? Like what the value is and stuff.
That's their individual rights and freedom of action. Yeah, it gives you something to sort of throw in there as a thing that they'll very much try and uphold, or that will also be a trigger in their decision making as well.
They're definitely, I mean, realistically, if I was GMing, it'd be like, yep, they're going to war with Danu because they've got the freedom fighter that they have. And Danu's like, no, give him to us. We're going to execute him. Well, we're not going to give him to you. We're going to come and invade you. Then what are you going to do about it?
we're going to give him to you, but not in the way you want.
He's going to be leading our army.
Yeah.
No, that was the last thing we wanted you to do.
We'll definitely need a system that rolls dice, yeah. But so far, I don't think either of us have really thought of one that like completely fits it in a way.
Not really. I think if we were to take some of the more classic ones or the go-to answers, we definitely need to make altercations to it. But then a lot of like the systems that use fantasy often come with their own worlds, or are like, hey, you don't have to use our world, but here's a lot of stuff that kind of is specific to our world. Like even D&D, which a lot of people think of like as a chop suey kind of mix of lots of different like elements of culture and narrative, in and of itself has become its own like world, if that makes sense. Like, you know, all that kind of stuff.
A lot of it also pushes heavily towards a sort of like European medieval kind of fantasy thing.
But we're not making medieval, we're making Napoleonic.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. Yeah, I think as we go forward, we'll definitely incorporate different ideas and things like that. I think the next one is religion. If I am correct, is it after values and themes and stuff like that, or am I wrong?
Let me just hop back to what's it, 120?
I apologize.
Something. Yeah. It's all right. It's my fault for not keeping control of you.
Oh God.
No. So societal and style of the kingdom and its occupants. Well, we could add some like stylistic ideas.
Yeah.
To them.
Style.
Like, yeah, as in
styling. Oh, I've scrolled down one page and I see the bit you're talking about with societal organization and societal aesthetic. I'll roll 2d20 for that. Well,
I mean, we don't need to roll on the example template societies because we already have one.
Already done that, yeah. Oh, but these are cool. I kind of wish I'd gone some of these now. The Mali Empire is amazing. Imperial and Republican Rome, that's a good one to go for. Modern day America, that would be very interesting to see run. Imperial Persia. Okay, I'm going to stop reading these now. Stop reading them now. Stop.
Roll on the table above it.
18. Far-flung clans of affiliated families. And this is the social identity.
Yeah. Like, what? Do we want to create... We don't necessarily have to roll on the table for this, but I'm just thinking, do we want to create two? So the old order that's been broken down, and then some parts of the country are sort of still, because of Montague's decrees, are still trying to cling on to or revert to, and then a modern one for like, this is what the revolutionary state is now.
Yeah, no, I like that. I would like to roll, but I can re-roll now with that information because I don't really think Far-flung clans works because we've not really integrated much of what is necessary for a clan system to work.
Not really, no.
Not that it's not a good idea. Yeah.
Like, it feels more like it would have to have run on some kind of, feudal or patron-based system in some way, from what we've talked about so far of like pre-revolutionary eras.
So the first one I rolled for pre was a patron-client relationship with major figures, which I think works pretty well. Maybe a way we could frame it is the king himself or queen herself or the emperor themselves didn't actually have a lot of authority, like kind of a Holy Roman Empire kind of thing, where it's like, oh yeah, no, you have to do what I say. Sure we do. will listen if it's for our benefit. But I think the patrons would have been like nobles and various and that's the old system. And there's a couple of those people still kind of hovering around in positions of power. Then that kind of awkward, like, we want to get rid of you, but you didn't kill us during the revolution, and you were kind of on our side, but you're also a noble. We're kind of undecided where you also have all the guns. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, exactly.
Still ended up getting hurt.
Yeah, I am part of the revolution. Why are you in fancy silks? Hey, silks can be part of the revolution.
No one said the revolution couldn't have style. Oh, you think it can't? Oh dear.
Whips scarf around and as doing so. There's like 8 bayonets pointed at them. Oh no. And then the new system is 6, which is identity based on their local community, which I think that could work in the sense that people are now recognizing that they don't have to have sovereignty to their patricianal leaders. I said patricianal, but you know what I mean, like their dynastic or nobility rulers. And it's like, no, we are for ourselves. Now, perhaps if someone was playing the game and in the campaign, it would morph into a bigger sense of like, this is Aris, this is us, we are Aris. But at the moment, it's in this kind of infancy of like, we are Urlon, we are Urlonians, and maybe one day we'll identify ourselves as Arisans. There we go. Arisans. I actually kind of like that.
Arisans,
makes it sound like Saracens, which is I don't know if that's it. Yeah, actually does sound like I've just taken the Saracens and taken the S off, but whatever.
This does seem to be a common theme for us, so
I like that. And of course all of this is mutable. It can be changed and tweaked and malleable if need be. Okay.
There you go, I've put a little note in that they're not Arisians, they're Arisans.
Oh, thank you.
so that we'll remember.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, I think that's... Oh, wait. Is there anything else I need to do? I'm now thinking, have we gotten past, or are we now on to religion for kingdom?
Sorry, I'm just trying to...
No, it's okay. I'm not sure myself. I'm on 119.
So the example template societies we don't really need to do because
not really.
It's kind of revolutionary France. Government construction we don't need to do. Yeah, I think we're probably at a point where if there is a religion or a religious tradition, we're going to have to come up with it. I know we've been skirting around it.
It's a part of it. As I say, when you write stories, they take inspiration from the real world. Because, we can talk about religion. I mean, in the fantasy world, obviously.
Was it the Second Estate? Or?
It was the Second Estate. And interestingly enough, a lot of the clergy actually went with the Third Estate. Which is interesting. I again didn't know that until I read into more about it. So
there was also a period where they were told they had to, or
yeah, definitely.
No, you have to swear allegiance to the people of France over.
They have they have a whole bunch of tables. Do we want to go through them? There is a lot of them, though. But I don't mind doing that.
Don't have to do all of them. We can do some of them. Or you can just throw out a Nye-based religion here, like the supreme being of Nye, and the worship of the supreme being.
No. So... I think we'll do what is the... I'll say this. So the function of the religion is no different from what it is now. It's how people have rationalized the world around them. So that's what the religion is for. We're not gonna do a fucking religious studies about what religion is. Like that's what the gods are there for. So But obviously it's a fantasy world, so they are real because it's easier that way when it's like, hey, gods,
They
can I have
don't
my
have to
clerical
be.
powers? That's true, I guess. I mean, clerics could get their powers from faith. We might even have clerics. Who knows? So I'm going to roll on the god's origin, if that's okay. I know that's not the first one, but I think that's a good starting point because there are lots of different origins. Now, do you just want to roll on the tables? Yes, tables.
Go on.
It's a D12 this time.
Everyone's
Garblag's favorite
Yeah.
D12. There's actually quite a few weirder combinations. So D12. Oh, I rolled 2. I only wanted 1. 11. It was an artificial construct built by humans. Okay.
Was it? Are you saying religion is an artificial construct built by humans?
Yeah, I think we'll
answer
have
that? I'll let you off.
I think that would be probably the easiest to do. So it's like in this world,
in this case,
there is no god to actually meet or talk to, but people do believe in a faith, or maybe several faiths.
Is this going to be a religion that is specific for this region, or will it cross like the boundaries of the various other nations, or will there be different competing ones?
Oh, that's a good. Oh, the world builder in me wants to say competing ones because that's more fun and it adds more layers. But another part.
But you don't want to roll for all those religions, do you?
How about we say this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. We roll for Arises, and Aris sets up the baseline rules. So that's all we do here. We just, so for example, we rolled that the gods are not, in meta sense, are not actually a real thing, but they are there to be believed in. So you're not going to meet a god. And that is the rule for all of the gods. And then off camera, I will roll the nitty-gritty specifics for things, and then I'll assign them stuff and give them to you, and then we can read them next week or whenever we do this again. Because then that way you don't have to see me roll like 6 sets of die, but I do actually want to put the effort in. And also I probably should be doing stuff off time as well, since you do a lot of stuff. So
Yes, I do.
Mostly
I upload the video and then watch it back briefly before we start again. But yeah,
I don't know. You made the
I made
flag,
the
and you want
flag.
to make the map. Yeah, I think the reason why, I mean, there's a part of me that kind of does want the gods to be a tangible thing though as well, but I don't know. See, I'm reading some of the other ones and I'm like, oh, they're kind of interesting. Like the heroes or teachers being canonized and things. Or I love outsider. It's just a capital O. It's an outsider.
Well, I think outsiders are like part of the actual worlds without number setting.
Oh, okay, interesting. Interesting. Well, okay.
That's why they appear on like some of the tables, and you go, "What does that have to do with anything?"
In fairness, it does say it was an outsider or alien from beyond, so it does give the benefit of doubt. Okay, let me explain my thought process, right?
Yes.
And then you can decide if you think I'm being hyperbolic. The reason why I'm a little bit conflicted is because we've put in all these fantastical monster. No, me saying that aloud has secured my opinion on it. I apologize for the flip-flopping. I quite like the idea that, at least for me, that we are playing this world as if it is not a fictitious creation made by 2 people sitting on their computer.
Yeah.
So what we consider in the real world magical creatures is just regular problems for the people living there. So yeah, so I've already fucked up the name. Sekoto? Is it Sekoto?
Seko.
For the Britain and Seko. Yeah. Seko has released these horrible demon monsters, but and true, by our standards, they'd be magical monstrosities. But for the people of the world, it's like a locust plague or like a weird,
for a big,
like
violent locust plague. But
exactly,
yeah.
but
Like,
still by their standards. So I don't think it's wrong to say that us, the creators of the Shroud, are saying the gods are not going to be things that interact with the world, because at the end of the day, the function of the religion, even to us being this very different thing from what we know, is still to them what is necessary. It's to justify the world. They don't need the god to walk around going, "Hey, I'm your deity, what's going on?" Because the function still works for them, because it gives them security and faith and justification for bad things. But they're the bad people that do that, so that's their own business.
On them anyway.
Exactly, that's on them. That's not anyone else's fault but theirs. If that's okay with you. And obviously, like, if we have clerics, it's like, you just have super good belief. I believe. Ooh, I made someone better.
Yeah, but that could also be, part of it, like belief that they can do it, combined with the fact that we have established these giant magical fields exist somehow. It could provide them with.
I do apologize for having a flip-flop moment there, but it can happen with me.
That's fine.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see the thought process going into building a fictitious religion.
That's me. Oh, okay. God. Okay. So...
And I think, like John is saying in chat, even if we have this baseline religion, other nations will have different rituals. It probably not even like be nation specific, but more like regions and stuff. Where
exactly, I'm thinking if we set the rules up for what it serves, both in the game and also in the actual world, then I can do some tweaking behind the scenes and roll some dice and come up with some stuff. So I'm having a look. There's who leads the faith, but I think that I could roll that off screen, because that's kind of like, is there a pontiff? Is there a pope equivalent kind of thing? So I think whenever I roll... Actually, if I roll it now, we could determine if I do need to make rolls in the future. So if they do have a pope, maybe there is only one religious thing. I said pope, but they don't actually explicitly say that. Okay, I'll roll it now quick, but we won't spend too much time on it. So it's a D8. 6. There is no official clergy. Some believers may take up special roles or provide teaching, but they are not qualitatively different from others. Okay, that answers that question then. So I guess I really like your idea of like everyone has their own regional spins on it, but there's kind of a general story going on. But there's no
Once
like organization.
Chat is helping us out.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you, John. Okay. Why does the faith matter? I think we'll just say, because it gives they don't really have one here, but I think it gives people a rationale for the world around them in a time before and still during where rational thought is in its infancy. Like the Enlightenment and stuff is still happening. If you want to have clerics who can do magical things, that's justified with the magic fields in their own sense and things like that. What does the faith want? I will roll for that. Because that's interesting. That's a D12. Garblag is going, yes, somewhere in a distant land. I do also recognize that it
looks up into the distance and goes, I sense a D12 being rolled.
I do also recognize that it's getting quite late. So
that's all right. We can definitely finish this off.
I'll roll this and maybe a table 2 more, and then we'll cut it.
Basically, once we've finished off the baseline religion.
And then I can, if I need to do some stuff.
Aaron has joined us as well. just in time for us to sort of start finishing up.
Hi, Aaron.
Sorry, Aaron.
We're just finishing
But thank you for
It's
joining.
all right.
And also thank you for following on Twitch, which I got an email about earlier. Always nice.
Yeah, it's nice. So what does the faith want? I got a 9. Erect a huge and imposing temple complex.
Okay.
I have an idea for that. So maybe so maybe that was going to be something that Aris was going to do as a nation, but then the revolution happened, and now there's this kind of half colossal uncompleted temple that nobody wants to foot the bill for. If that makes sense. Maybe it's on boundary between the meeting points of several kingdoms. It's like, oh god, this is now a huge investment that none of us want. And I don't really want to narratively build anything more on that. Maybe that's just a really interesting setting people could go to, like kind of like a dungeon-like area where it's like a big kind of temple complex kind of thing.
It could also prove important or have some purpose for any of the factions
that true.
Will eventually build out within the nations themselves in the area where the players are starting. So
exactly. The next question is, what are the clergy like? But that we're going to skip because we've established that there are no clergy, that it's kind of an ad hoc.
It's sort of like I'm a pious person in the community who talks about and teaches it kind of thing, but no one's an ordained priest.
Sammy over here has been around for 80 years, so technically he just wins by attrition. I've been here for the whole time. I know exactly what the religion is about. What's it about? I don't know. It was a long time ago when I first learned about it. I don't practice. And then there's the societal function. I kind of do I want to roll for that?
You can roll first and then see what happens.
Yeah, I'll roll first. 11. It's the patron. Oh my god, this is perfect. It's the patron of the farmer rulers of the land. Their god has failed them with the crop infestation and the dead farmers. No. Okay, you can't make this shit. We have to go with that now. The dice have been kind and rolled a convenient. So the faith is, well, we've done a lot with trees and nature and that kind of harmonization. So perhaps that. I have just realized sitting here after 3 episodes that I've gone for a very druid focused campaign. If you're a druid.
Didn't we mention that at some point? It was like we've come up with the ideal campaign where like being a druid is
you are like a freaking okay, so I like that. Perhaps the very, very old faith was like a very animalistic, or not animalistic, animist kind of spirit and things like that.
Everything has a spirit that's you can interact with, kind of.
And it has evolved somewhat into an agricultural setting where people respect the land and things. And now that it's kind of, if you want to say it's a third stage, the fire and brimstone one, where it's like, we must have pissed the farm god off somehow because he's really upset with us. Or she, or they. It doesn't have to be. Or all three. And more, because, it's a god. Goddess. It's a deity. There we go. It's a deity. It can be whatever
it could be
people
whatever
want it to be. Yeah, exactly. I actually kind of like that idea that, and again, because this is a world that I've made and I don't really want to have religious conflict in there. I like the concept that there's one village that thinks of the deity as like a male figure, another as a non-binary figure, another perhaps as a trans figure, and they're all just like, hey, they're all the same person, we just have different interpretations of them. Oh god, I'm gonna have to come up with a name. It's Anne, but because it's Pan, But yeah, I'm not good at that. I'm now realizing that there'll be people watching this going, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
Especially people who've come to it late or have no background in what we've been talking about.
Exactly.
Then it'll be kind of.
Well, actually, that sums up because the next thing is what is the god's portfolio. So we've got that. It's agriculture and forests, or one of or nature, I guess, would be the thing. Which I kind of like. But as I said, like people, now I have a really silly idea now. People use farming metaphors for life. Like, so it's like, it's as the good book says, when you are tilling your soil, make sure it's well aerated. And then someone's like, how does that help me with my money concerns? It's just,
aerate
as they say,
soil,
when
child, aerate your soil.
So, does that mean like I should diversify my portfolio? Aerate your soil. You're not helping me. You're not a very good
Well, that's the thing. Like in most cases, it's just some person who feels spiritually inclined. It's like, I'm the local leader of spiritualism.
Yeah, it's a really low key kind of I'm the spiritual leader, or I'm not. It's up to you guys how you like me. Yeah, you're pretty good. You say some fun stuff. You have some fun sermons. Cool. I'll stay the leader. Actually, I'd like to be there. Cool. Yeah, no bother. Here's the coat. There you are. Oh, it's quite warm. Yeah, it's got like reindeer fur in there. Ooh. I've now canonically stated, as the great book says, he who wears reindeer fur is very warm.
Shall be warm throughout the coldest winters.
And how does this help me with my problems? It's clear. Get some reindeer fur. Make your problems go away. Oh, okay. Well, we'll make the reindeer problems go away. Yeah.
Well, kind of will.
Yeah,
reindeer has no more problems after that.
Oh gosh.
It's one large problem, but
yeah. Okay, yeah, I like that. I love the bohemian way that this religion has come together. It is a druid. It's a druid's religion. Hey, what's going on, man? It's cool. Put your feet up on the table, or don't. It's up to you. Okay. Yeah, I quite like that.
Oh, the poor players that will endure this at some point.
Hey, if it's not their cup of tea, that's totally fine. And this is not set in stone. Someone could totally take the ideas. As I said, I just want the world to give an idea of what I'm trying to go for. Oh, John has asked a question. I apologize if this was a while ago. Magic is depending on what principle? The only real aspect of the magic
entirely system, defined it yet.
The only definition is this: that magic is created within a field generated by trees, and that is how national borders are made. And I think we've suggested that the trees themselves have qualities that create certain types of magic.
Yeah.
However, that's as far as we've got, and that
how they get that.
It's not
yet entirely set in stone.
The rough idea that I have is that that spellcasters would have maybe a wooden ring or a wand or a wooden staff, and that becomes their conduit, and that kind of creates their own little field, and that's how they cast spells. Whereas maybe like a what we would call a druid or a holy person is someone who doesn't rely on such tools and is like, I shall take the power from my belief, but it's more specific. I don't know. It's not super important right now. We'll get to a magic system. Eventually. I take the magic straight from my God. That's a phrase I want to say. I take the magic straight from the air with my belief.
Yeah. The trees themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. No, that is a thing. Obviously, once we're a bit further into this, I'll type it all up properly, or structure it a bit better, and then I'll throw it out there for people as well, because we're probably going to have a go at running something with it for a little bit, maybe at some point, but then other people can read it through and they can do whatever they wish with it, really.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally. I love that idea. Yeah. I think that's where we're going to end it now, because it is a bit late for you, isn't it? It's like 11.
No, that's all right. Yeah. So
I think we've reached a natural
I think we've set down everything for the religion as well now, and we've also gone a bit deeper into our revolutionary state that is now called Aris.
Aris, yes. Yeah. What was the other name? Who cares? It doesn't matter now. That was just a weird thing that Montague was really trying to push.
Yeah, he really Mert. I used to know a Mert once. We should change the name of the state to Mert.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Aris, Montague. It's Aris. Just stop drinking wine and leave. Well, if you need me, I'll be in that building across the road.
Yeah, we will. Please leave.
Okay. With that being said, thank you, Nye, firstly, for coming up with all of this, and for coming back week after week to endure Worlds without Nye-mbers. The very terrible pun that I've made.
No, it's all right. Thank you for letting me in and letting me spout my nonsense and gibberish.
No, it's great. I'm enjoying it. So, and then thank you to everyone who's been joining us in chat, and who's watching this back later on YouTube, or who will watch this at some point on Twitch, maybe. And thank you for joining in, especially with your suggestions. It's been very useful and helpful for us as well, because coming up with names and stuff sometimes proves difficult.
It can be
on
difficult.
The fly, and it's great fun to have you all there with your own suggestions. I think we'll probably be back next week Sunday with episode 4. Yep. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Not sure what we'll be doing next, but I'm excited to do it.
I think if we define a sort of starting region, and then maybe look at some specifics like how does magic work and stuff, just so that you have a framework for if you're running it. How are you going to pull it all together? And maybe zoom in a bit more to where exactly are the players starting, what's the environment like that they're starting in, and I'll actually at some point try and make some maps. He half promises with his fingers crossed. Anything else you're up to that needs to be mentioned, or that you'd like to mention? Doesn't necessarily need to.
I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to talk about some of the stuff I'm doing, but there's another part of me that's like, nah, I'm not super confident about it at the moment. And I kind of just want to. I did say I would have news of stuff I'm working on, but I kind of want to be a bit more established with what I've made, and then I might talk about it.
We'll just go with watch this space for more interesting Nye news.
Yeah. I mean, if you stick around here, I think Lewis, you put my Twitter in the description. So if you go in the description on YouTube, if you go to my Twitter or go to Lewis's Twitter, either or, and just have a look at the stuff we're doing. We're not. You're
less likely to find things Nye's doing on my Twitter though, so maybe follow.
That is true. That is very true. But yeah, like I don't tweet crazily, so whatever you see there is the stuff I'm working with and such like that. So
okay. And then for the rest of the week, other than Mouse Ritter with me on Garblag, are you on anything else?
I'm on Fridays with Garblag, and I think we're doing Traveller.
Yeah.
So that'll be character
Fun.
creation next week.
Yeah.
And I also have a D&D game, but that's on American time. It's called Enclaves and Exclaves, or Exclaves and Enclaves. I always mix the two up. And I will try and retweet that nearer the time, like when it's actually happening. And I might share that on some of my other socials.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice thing where I think we're on episode 3 next week. We do it every 2 weeks. That's kind of the reason I don't talk about it much, because it's kind of a bit difficult to be like, hey, it's not this week, it's the week after.
What channel's that on then?
It's on Twitch, but it does have a YouTube. So I do have a YouTube channel I could plug, but that's also on my Twitter. So just go on my Twitter and then you'll find in the website thing the YouTube. And that also has this. This has Lewis's stuff, has Garblag stuff. It's got that stuff.
Yeah. Aaron and John, thanks for joining us. Just say that as they're saying goodbye in chat. Yeah. Other than that, on Wednesday we're going to be doing the second part of the Mouse Ritter 2-shot.
Yep.
Yes. That'll be over on YouTube rather than Twitch, because it's the 1st of September.
Yes.
So yeah, join us then to find out if the mice actually manage to find something to eat for the fate, or if they get eaten themselves, or if they encounter any more well, it was more of a South London rats that are trying to shake them down for pips, and the Shrewd Company.
It was the greatest thing.
I really like Mouse Ritter though. It's such a fun system as well.
I want to run it now with other people I know, because it's just so wholesome and lovely.
Yeah.
It could be not. You could make it like really horrible and scary.
Yeah, you could quite easily, but it's one of those things. It just depends on how you want to run a game. And
exactly.
Right, I think that's it for us for tonight.
Yeah.
I can't think of any more announcements, so yeah, join us over on Garblag on Wednesday for Mouse Ritter, and then on Friday join Nye for Traveller Creation. Back here on Sunday for episode 4 of Worlds Without Number. There you go, I'll say it right for once.
Okay, yeah.
Worlds Without Nye-mbers. See, it's so ingrained now that even you corrected me. Yeah, and at some point we will do the second part of the Battle of Kursk. Yeah, but
once this is out the way,
not up for it last
no, it's
week.
All right.
So.
Well, once this is out the way, and we do Battle of Kursk, who knows what we could do in the future? Because I don't know if we would be able to whip up a whole campaign, so we might
well, on the wargaming front, if you remember, I was mentioning across the Bug River.
Oh yeah,
the Vassal module is out for that now, so we could potentially play that as well online.
All right, yeah, I'll send to that.
Yep. Okay. Right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us, and see you next time. Stay safe and stay gaming. Bye.